Hello everybody and welcome back to Full House Sports here, myself Charlie. Before the video starts, please like, comment and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated as I try to become a one-man sports news bandwagon. Now tonight was the Champions League knockout round, the playoff round, whatever you want to phrase it as these days. I can't call it round of 24. No, it's the playoff round, of course it is. And Inter Milan have been knocked out. Last year's finalists have been knocked out by Norwegian side Bodo Glimt. As you can probably tell from the shirts, doesn't take a genius to work out. I am quite fond of Inter, and tonight's result is a real low blow, I guess, for the side. Yes, they're 10 points cleared in Serie A, but, you know, what does it say? I mean, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. First is first, it should be important to credit Bodo Glimt. What a performance from them. Kjetil Knutsen, as a manager, listen, it feels like he's been linked with every championship job under the sun for a few years now. He's way above that. He's been linked with loads of jobs. He's never left there. He's built this club in the mould of his style of football. And I think when I say his style of football, what is really incredible is their versatility. The fact that they are, some games keeping 65, 70% possession. Other games like they're having a lot less possessions, 30%. But they're still dominant in a sense. And it feels like they've got such wonderful game control, which for a team that on paper is a lot less, well, valuable than Inter Milan's, is quite an incredible achievement. Yes, the first goal start they conceded was shambolic, let's be honest, from them. But all in all, like I say, a side that has, a club that has really been on the up for a while. A few people have said, oh, this is crazy, you know, I'm talking about it. But anyone who's been watching not just the Champions League, but the Europa League and the Conference League for a few years knows that this isn't a fluke. You know, this time last year, they knocked Lazio out on penalties. They went to the Olimpico and knocked Lazio out on penalties. Only a few years ago, I remember them going to Celtic Park in, I think it was the Conference League that year, and completely dismantling Celtic at Parkhead and playing football that was just an absolute joy to watch. And unbelievable. And at that point, you thought this guy, Knutsen, is only going to be destined for bigger things. He stayed loyal to them, and fair play to them for that. There's a lot been said as well, of course, of the fact that they've only played 3 games this year due to the fact that they are based in the Arctic Circle, and because of Norway's harsh winter, Norwegian teams don't play in the winter. But fair play to them. It's an outstanding achievement, especially when you look at as well some of the players. Jens Petter Hauge being a prime example. Guy who sort of left them because they are a club that do export talent as well. They've exported a fair few in terms of, you know, Petter Hauge, who went to AC Milan, Eintracht Frankfurt, has come back. Ola Solbakken being another one. Eric Botheim as well in up front. He was another one who they sold on for profit to clubs in Italy. They've become as well a selling club, but have used that money, invested it very wisely in terms of recruitment. As for Inter and Italian football in general, listen, when I started this channel, I did a thing called Calcio Corner. I do need to bring that back, to be honest. But I did a thing about it and talking about Italian football. I love the league. My dad has brought me up on it because of his, you know, he loved Football Italia. I love Italian football. You know, the book I've got over here, The Immortals, about Arrigo Sacchi's great team. But it's a low point for Italian football. And Inter aren't alone. Juventus were dismantled at the hands of Galatasaray. Atalanta headed out to Dortmund. Napoli, the league champions, didn't even make it through this extended group phase, which, let's face it, should have been easy for a club like them. Italian football is in trouble, and it's rotting and decaying. And I'm not sure how it's fixed. It's certainly not a short-term fix. I think the problem is tactically, you watch the league, yes, it's entertained at times, but tactically they're all playing the same system because there's such a managerial merry-go-round, the same names, Allegri, Juric, Pioli, they're all just getting the same jobs. It's all a merry-go-round, Palladino, you know, there's no outside ideas coming in. And that for me is really important. And I think for a league's continuation is having outside ideas come in. They've not had that. It's been a very inward-looking league. And I think this is reflective of that now. The youth systems are not producing. You know, you only have to look at the under-17s, under-20 track record of the Italian teams, Italian national teams in their age groups. They're not qualifying for some of these major tournaments, let alone doing well in them. They're really struggling. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know, it's not a quick fix. Stadiums as well, as much as they're old and they're romantic, they are pretty decrepit. I mean, I've been to San Siro twice. I loved it, but it is old and it does need work. I don't want it knocked down completely, but it does need work. The league itself has hit a low point, and they can't financially compete, because who can financially compete with the Premier League? But to be where they are, Inter in the league, is frightening. They are rapidly losing ground with the other top four leagues. I mean, I say that France is PSG realistically. You know, let's face it. Although they've played Monaco, which has meant that one of them was always going to get knocked out. Unfortunately for that league, Germany, though, they're going to get Bayern through. They're going to have Dortmund go through. You know, and Leverkusen as well. It's a real bad reflection on Serie A. It really is, and yeah, something needs to be done. There needs to be a real internal look at here. And if Italy do fail to qualify for the World Cup, which I don't think is out of the realms of possibility when you look at the draw sector they've got, Bosnia, Wales and Northern Ireland, if that does happen, then this is a real problem. Into a toothless tonight, just on them quickly, before I let the video go. They were poor tonight. Crosses into the box. Tactically, it was poor. Very easy for Bodo to defend. There was nothing. Yes, Bastoni got the goal, but apart from that, there was nothing to suggest that they weren't unlucky losers. Clearly, the aggregate score reflects that, but they weren't over either of their legs. They were poor. Tactically, very, very poor, repetitive, just real lacklustre performance from the team. And yeah, they've been knocked out. But for Bodo, the fairy tale continues. Let's see how far they can go. They will surprise more teams, I think. As always, guys, let us know what you think. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated. As I try to become a one-man sports news bandwagon, I've been Charlie. Have a great day.